Our champion of change today is Al Wilson, founder and president of Beyond Walls. Al Wilson's not-for-profit organization has transformed Lynn, Massachusetts, and a number of other cities by commissioning large-scale murals on downtown buildings, turning Lynn into an artistic destination. Under Wilson's leadership, Beyond Walls has spurred cultural and economic revitalization, gaining national attention and fostering collaborations, all by combining public art with urban renewal to strengthen community, identity, and engagement. Innovation at its best. Welcome, Al. One of the principles that we talk about in the book, No Fear, No Failure, is about sustaining growth through innovation. And one of the 5 C's, as we call them, is collaboration. And in the case of Beyond Walls, as you've told me, collaboration with local community leaders, with advocacy groups, government agencies, schools, local businesses, not to mention the artists themselves, was, quote, fundamentally critical. Beyond Walls would not have happened without collaboration at every level and in almost every aspect of the project. So, Al, what advice do you have about building a network of collaborators in order to have your vision come true and drive growth?
Well, it is critical. We looked at community and tried to define, who makes up community. And for us, those stakeholders are either residents, the business community, and the elected officials and department heads, because we're doing work in the physical environment. So it was really critical to have folks that fell into those 3 camps, and sometimes they cross over, right? And then work with the folks that were willing to roll up their sleeves and get things done. Work in the public way is always challenging, and when you're a startup and you have no money and no one's being paid, and a desire to do really big work to serve the community, it's really about the making sure that folks have a clear understanding of the work that needs to be done. They're signing on for doing that work. And then the follow-up meetings, you sort of start with how you ended the last meeting and the job duties. And the folks that are there, they're there because they've done the work, right? And so if you have folks that are detractors or aren't willing to do the work, they don't show up. So it's really working with the people that show up.
Wow, that's terrific advice. And I think whether you're a startup or a going concern, this idea of how you galvanize collaborators, stakeholders, get them engaged, it's critical, absolutely critical. And you crack the code on it, so to speak. Can you talk about this important aspect of collaboration? How do you select for that kind of behavior and that kind of engagement? And how do you encourage and maintain individuals' engagement in the project?
Part of it is articulating the goals and what's the why behind the work. In this case, we had community meetings that identified 3 underpasses that weren't lit, which were high areas of vehicle and pedestrian strikes. So we knew we wanted to light these 3 bridges, and we wanted to do it in an artistic, dynamic way. And then a desire for really large scale public art and what that would do to help serve the downtown. And so keeping that front and center as to the why and then the goals that come from that and the clear communication path to that, I think is very critically important. There's a certain confidence that you have to portray when you're leading an organization and a group, but that confidence also needs to be, at times, you're confident in the group's ability to do the work and laying out that work, but then there's also that moment where you actually have to lead from behind, right? You have to sit down and let folks rise to the occasion, and that's part of what a cohort model and a collaborative model is. And then you're really leaning on that expertise. It's as you can imagine, you're working with professional artists. And so, ultimately the product is coming through them. And so it's making sure that you've done the work to allow the professionals to do their best work.
Wow, Al, it sounds as though you had identified a problem, set the project in motion, and then you got out of the way, which a good leader of innovation needs to do. So thank you for joining us today. It's really been a terrific conversation.
I so appreciate you. Thank you so much, Lorraine. Appreciate you.
We'll announce our next Champions of Change conversation on LinkedIn. In the meantime, you can pre-order your copy of No Fear, No Failure on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookshop.org.